That is ICP.
It's just like a blockchain. This one is fine. My favorite color is black, but it's not interesting.
It's actually quite a thing that I've learned. A place that you actually struggle is the best that a place you excel at people. Because a place that you're struggling and you have so much anxiety. Step into this enabled work business. So if you, let's say, project manager, it's not a digital job. What's your background?
So it's money, bro. It's free money. That's the best money, bro.
Not Muganga. It's after me, Gonga. Alright, thank you very much. As I said, I am Diane Mugonga, and I'm here representing the CMU Africa student body, let me say student body, and technologies. Together we are building a tech-driven world that is not only innovative, but also equitable and impactful. Today, I'm thrilled to extend a very special welcome to Ms. Piwa Zimba, our Chief Operations Officer at CMU Africa. Ms. Piwa is a remarkable leader who whose careers.
As much as we can be having good intentions, there will be someone who can have bad motives, and with these powerful tools, they can cause chaos. So, how do we go about it as GDG? So, this is a simplified version of AI. So, there is the developers, there is us here. We have the technology is there, and of course AI is data is a new code, right? And then there are users. So us as a responsible community, we have to think of all these steps. For the user, they're like, okay, I'll just use it. But for us, it's where do I get the data? How do I get the good data? Which technology should I use? Yeah. Smaller models, I mentioned that connectivity might be an issue. So how do we create solutions on our devices? Taking into account that the devices might not even be the best. How do we create smaller models? So those are still something to think. And then we need to think of an innovative way of creating data. How do we create data? How do we gather existing data? And how do we create it in a sustainable way? So I'm looking at solutions such as crowdsource or Wikipedia. How do we create such solutions? And then for the compute, I think we just need more coordination, because I know there are so many.
Everything that I knew was I got it from school, learning Java, learning C++, C. And I remember at that time, React was being kind of introduced into the world. And not many people were actually using that here in Rwanda. And I remember it was such a pain. It was really a pain for me to be able to learn JavaScript, trying to adapt. Don't be like, let's build the next ChatGPT, and then give yourself 2 weeks for that. This also can kill the motivation. Also, with all of your strategy, you need to constantly review it, adapt. And the good thing is, if you have a mentor, you can be reviewing that with your mentor, and then try to basically focus points on an area that interests you. And mixing challenging topics and engaging projects could also very key to be helping you to stay motivated. And take breaks, relax, and celebrate each and every milestone that you have been able to basically achieve. So that was pretty much it on my end. Thank you very much for your attention.
I'm just going to discuss it before the Rwanda summer family. So, let's put a round of applause. Let's welcome Venus and take us through the landing talk.
In 15 minutes. Okay, nice. Let's do it in 7 minutes, and we take 8 minutes for questions. So thanks a lot, and I think he introduced me. I'm Venus. I'm from Rwanda. And I believe that we interacted with some of really many talents here, but that are even people here owning companies and organizations. By a very quick one, we are just working the Africa's Talent Marketplace platform. You are also Filipinos. Some of you have started to get some projects on Apple, TalkTalk. I think a few others on TalkTalk, but especially Apple and Fiverr. we are trying to build a Pan-African model, kind of the same model if I would put it in the context of both the technology perspective, but also the human expertise that we want to be offering to companies and organizations. And I have a simple thing here, and you know, we have junior engineers here, mid-level software developers, we have also senior developers, which I assume there are not many, but I believe that we even have other people from tech careers in general that are not typically what I have mentioned. And my talk
today, that's those, okay? Can you hear it out? 19? No, in 1947, in 1946, there was a workshop in Dartmouth University in the US. Before then, there had been a lot of talk about machines having brains, you know, and then people started freaking out and things like that. However, as engineers and scientists, as all of you are in this room, people started still thinking about it. And they started researching and putting effort into it. So in 1946, in the United States, some of the researchers and engineers got together on Dartmouth campus and decided to formalize the research in AI. So they started. And then in 1950, so the conversation went on, right? And then in 1956, the government, the US government decided to invest a lot of money, a lot of millions of dollars into AI. Then AI started. Now, there were a lot of critics with Congress in the US and so on and so forth. So then the government decided to back off because people were scared. When the first automobile was
that was not the okay, thank you. DevFest KIGALI. DevFest KIGALI 2024. Responsible AI. Can I have a attention? Oh my God. Thank you, thank you. There's one brother in the back, over there. He was smiling to that lady, he thought you had seen the Texas. You are a liar. I know some sisters, some ladies here are looking for tech gurus that they can take their number home. Anyways, alright, I think we're done for the morning section. Before we go for coffee break, we'll be having a coffee break at the resource center, at the cafeteria. But before we go for the coffee break, we really need a photo session. So our photographer will take. We are going to go to the front of the school. That place can take everybody. It's in here. Oh, is this ready? Oh, interesting. So how do we do the pictures right now? That's really interesting. Okay. We can't. We get a lot. Okay.
Why are they going to help?
agreement between the nodes on the network, right? So that's why we are calling it a contract. But this is just a bunch of codes that are self-executing whenever a certain condition is met, right? Yeah, now let's ask ourselves why Web3 matters. Why Web3 matters? Web3 represents a more secure, transparent, because we do peer-to-peer and our data are transparent out in public, and fair digital ecosystem. They say it is fair because you have full right on your data or your assets. It is only you who are able to transfer your assets. No one else can transfer your asset unless you permit that action to happen. Yeah, it provides a foundation for dApps, decentralized application, that are open, secure, and trustless. Now, why we are saying here it is trustless? Because now we don't have to trust someone else to do our transaction. Internet is a blockchain network. Right? Because I don't want to go deep into blockchain because most of you, I know you have overview of blockchain. Let me just talk about this internet computer. Now, internet computer is a decentralized computing platform that enables developers to build dApps without relying on centralized servers. Now, this is where the difference of this ICP with other blockchain is right. Now, on other blockchain, we develop smart contract. We store a smart contract on there. And also having a problem of scalability because data on blockchain keep growing very rapidly. But other blockchain can't cope very well with the scalability. But our ICP is using this subnet. Subnet is also another concept. But using this subnet to cope very well with the scalability because it scales at infinity. Because as we have our smart contract combined with our ICP, what we call canister. Canister is a combination of code. If I say code is both smart contract and front end plus the state. When you say state, is just data on your smart contract. Now, the data that your application is using plus that code, that's what we call canister. So whenever you're accessing a smart contract, you access it through canister ID. So when you're accessing through canister ID, you're accessing the whole project. I mean the code plus your data. Yeah. Now, by paying only $5, but also other chain like Ethereum, you have to pay, I think it was $350 US. So you see how much it is. And this one is very secure because these applications or these nodes that are participating in that subnet to validate the transaction. Not relying on a single node to validate the transaction, but allowing multiple nodes that are participating on the subnet to validate the transaction. So that make it more secure compared to other chains. Now, let's go to the ICP's role in Web3. ICP provides a decentralized, scalable, and secure infrastructure to power Web3 dApps. Yeah. Other blockchain is kind of mixed because you have your smart contract stored on the centralized region, and also you shall have another front end on the centralized server. But here we are having everything on chain. So that's why they are saying it is secure infrastructure to power Web3, whole Web3 application. Now, it also simplifies the complexity of decentralized hosting, computation, and storage. Because on our ICP, we store everything in one canister. So on other chains, we have smart contract to start your DevFest engine by doing this DevFest start, and later on shall have to do this DevFest deploy. That's the only process that I require to develop your application on ICP. So now these are the programming languages that you can use to develop an ICP. Actually, ICP is developer friendly because you can develop smart contract on ICP with multiple languages. You can use this Motok is a native language for developers on ICP. So, but I think most of developers prefer Rust because I think Rust is very high performing. You can also use this TypeScript with other framework. You can also develop by using Python, for example, from Bitcoin to ICP, from Ethereum to ICP, by using what we call chain key cryptography. And now here comes the real-world ICP that use cases. These are applications that are currently running on the ICP. Like this open chat for people who use Telegram. I think you're familiar with Telegram. So this open chat also works the same way with Telegram, but this one runs on this ICP. So another thing that this open chat is having is you can transfer assets, for example, these digital assets, by using this open chat. And also this open chat is using this technique of chain fusion. So you can transfer whether kind of assets by using this open chat. And also we have HTTPS concept, or we have HTTPS component that helps us to deal with external data. For example, if we want to integrate to any point, we use our HTTPS component. But on other blockchain, we have to integrate Oracle, and then Oracle facilitators to deal with the external integration, which at the end of the day invite more, create more vulnerabilities on those chains, because you are inviting other third party, what we call NNS. Just NNS is a network number system on our ICP. So on our NNS to do, for example, if we want to deploy an application or if you want to do the upgrade, this ICP is governed by voting power of users. You have to go there, take some tokens, and then transform it into voting power, and then you start to be able to vote. Once you are voting, you are adding what we call maturity. Because once you stake your ICPs, because now you are bringing into concept of cryptocurrency things on this ICP. But that's okay. But don't bring me into little things. I don't want to be jealous at this moment. Yeah. Once you stake your tokens, you add what we call neurons. So you become a neuron holder, right? It might take some hours, even minutes, but on ICP is some seconds, just seconds. Yeah, that's the way. Other question? Actually, we have some opportunities, but most of them are remote. At the moment, we don't have companies in Rwanda who are building the applications, but they are starting to run how this blockchain technology works, so that they can start developing. Because the last time I was hearing running on blockchain. I'm not sure. I'm planning to visit them and see. So you see, even inside our country, some companies are adopting this blockchain application. You need this blockchain technology. So they are coming some opportunities on Web3. Any other question?
Yes, as a developer, it's good to be used. I would say, getting it. Say, as a developer, is it good to get used to one programming language?
What programming language is? I'm not sure. It depends on your. Actually, that's not good. That's not good. Maybe you can maybe have one language and become an expert into that one, but you also have to learn another, so that you can be familiar with some kind of other challenges. That is what we call seniority. That's how you become a senior. Because there is no way you are becoming a senior in just making because this one keep moving. So if you write on one language, you might get expired at some time. Crypto? As long as you're not going to sue me.
So just asking how this ICPI should be impactful to crypto enthusiasm. I mean, like a person who is a Bitcoin trader or something like that, how this ICPI should be impactful?
Actually, Bitcoin is a one blockchain. It only handles this blockchain is more famous and is a pioneer, but this ICP is very promising. So most developers are likely coming to develop this ICP. So at the end of the day, it's going to be more stable compared to other chains. Yes.
I want to ask, how is ICP different from...
But don't keep asking me about technical things.
How is ICP different from like Ethereum?
ecosystem?
Because I think I've told you about unique features of this ICP. So ICP is how many languages can you use to develop on Ethereum? Only Solidity.
Yeah.
And how many ICP?
I see, I have like 4.
That's what I told you. ICP is to develop a framework, right? And another thing is this ICP is having a very raw finality type because of its key that shared key that used to validate transactions, right? Another thing is this ICP is using another feature that I didn't tell you what we call reverse gas model. Now I have to explain to you this. Reverse gas, you see on Ethereum, you only paid by the developers. Unlike on the Ethereum, where the developer and end user both are paid to use the smart contract. Because to use the smart contract that is stored on Ethereum, you have to stake some tokens. But on ICP, you only need your wallet and browser, you don't need to stake some tokens. Yeah, those are just some differences.
So ICP is really promising. ICP is really promising.
Really promising, yes.
React application that you want to deploy in blockchain.
Yes.
So, is it possible to deploy it without knowing Motoko or some other?
Yeah, but can React deal with backend?
Backend?
Yes.
Yeah.
From what I heard, React is a front-end framework. Okay. Right? So just to make it working, it shall need a backend side. So whether you are building your backend with the TypeScript or Python, you can also build with Rust and have it as a Web 2 service. So the same languages, you can use them to build on the blockchain, on this ICP. So you want to develop an ICP, right? That was your question. Yes, for example, if you are a React developer, that means your specialization is on the front end. So you can still build your front end on the ICP. Your React is the same. Just the routing, the navigation, other things are the same. Yes.
So in other words,
You have another question?
So, is here any some people who use Motoko?
Yeah, our developers use Motoko. And in fact, our community is having around 500 developers at the moment.
You can join in.
Yeah, you can join and keep asking questions into the community. They facilitate each other. Hope to see you into our coming session that is happening next Thursday. Yes, next Thursday having session there in the Digital AI Center. We shall be learning how to develop the AI model chain. That is what we'll be learning. So I think I can now pass the floor to this.
Hello. Thank you for your time. So at 1 we will have lunch. So you guys can be going and also see what follows and what other session we can join afterwards. Thank you.
Snapchat, whereby you get a filter and then you take an image and it's like it's hand drawn. So you can also do that in code. You can write the code for you to be able to produce that. I tried doing it in TensorFlow. It's headache. PyTorch is straight. So I would prefer using PyTorch for that specific use case than TensorFlow. So to me, it's just specific use case. Yes. Yes, please. Yes. Thank you. So use cases, so certain companies may require certain things to be implemented in a certain way. For example, when it comes to the medical sector, well and good. But if you are working in a medical field, let's say for example, predicting cancer, 70% of probability of a person having cancer is bad. Right? You would want something that gives you like 95% to 96%. So the trade-off is it's the specific use case. For medicine, I imagine you go to a doctor and he says, oh, you have 65% of having cancer. Is that going to be well enough for you? It's raising.
Research around AI in an ethical, fair, transparent manner, and also such that all that we do in this space of AI are kind of there is a lot that has to do when we talk about building AI, right? Like from data collection to model training and model evaluation, deployment. So everything you do in the cycle of building your AI systems, so long as...
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Burhanuddin. I am a software engineer and ECU Africa student, second year. I have been in software development.
AI is still like it's so dark for some people because it is not for all people to understand how it was able to tackle everything. I mean, how it was able to give us the result that it was giving to us. Another challenge is I will come back on ethical because let me just start from ethics and as well as the culture thing. For example, there are things that are prohibited in Rwanda's culture, not in Ugandan cultures, right? If I may take an example, right? So that is also a challenge because it might give me a result here and also give you a result. Once our cultures or our ethics are not the same, they also give us not the same effect. So that is also a bit of challenge. And another challenge is, though it might give you a result, if you know if you're not an expert in that field, particular field that you are, for example, trying to fetch data or just solve the problem, you want to also be easy understanding of what it is giving you. So that is on my side the challenges.
I would like to add on top of that. If you look at it from a slightly different perspective, so we're talking about building responsible AI in such a way that it is fair, right? For you to be able to estimate or value the fear
in the way that different groups are treated by a model. To me, I think to directly answer the question, in my view, there are a number of frameworks that can be applied. I think the part that I often feel is missing, at least in the work that I do, is thinking about like what definition of fairness makes sense in a particular setting, because there are many different ways you can think about fairness, like should the same number of people... Yeah, I mean, I think it might be hard to draw a completely direct causal arrow from non-diverse developer teams of AI systems to unfair outcomes, but I think it's very sort of reasonable to imagine that one of the reasons that we see bias in AI systems is that the teams that are developing these systems might not represent sort of all of the variety and all of the diversity of people that, again, these systems are going to be predicting upon. And so if you don't have certain identities represented on the team developing a model, it's quite possible that those very groups will be overlooked when we're thinking about doing things like auditing the fairness of the model. And so I think, to me, that's the primary reason that it's really important to have diverse developer teams, is to sort of ensure that all different values and different cultural values are being represented when we think about training and evaluating those models.
Just to be clear, do you mean diversity in the teams or in the data?
Both. I think I was speaking primarily about the team.
Even also data might be good on this area. Because we bring the way they used to say fairness and transparency, because if you talk on both cultural side of each, maybe not say each, but also more of like most of the demographics of people. If we want to bring a lot of externality on data, because it will be able to bring fairness on the data that is producing, and also as well as leading to better decision making, and also not misleading people, because maybe something might be meaning something on this side and also maybe meaning another something on the other side. But always diversity is an advantage, not a disadvantage in any way on the other, not only the AI things. Yeah. But I have an example. I have an example because one day I had someone advising her friend that committing suicide it requires having courage. So can you imagine that? But on their side, they were too weak inside. They were too weak inside. But now let's take this. For example, you have these people not examining what side of the world they are coming from, and just you are taking this kind of persons that they are either advise someone to commit suicide. I don't know if they ended up doing it or not, but they say in the morning. So like having like a diversity of people, we bring like more like people getting challenged, preparing data, because this friend of mine has said you might have a very good model, but if you don't have a very good data, you're also going to give us a low or biased result. So having a diversity of people will have people challenging each other before confirming which data set it is going to use. Yeah.
In line with that, speak on that. So what regulatory frameworks are needed to balance innovation and oversight in AI, such that it's not hindering people from being creative or from building any innovative models, but at the same time, it maybe does not advise people to commit suicide, right?
I think maybe we should have a kind of licensing framework so that they will be getting checked before being started being used by the people around the world. Otherwise, everyone can produce an AI model and put it on site and people start using. And at the end of the day, they'll be tempted to believe what it is giving them and follow these inappropriate advices and then end up taking the wrong decisions. Yeah, maybe if you can have kind of licensing companies or licensing regulations, I think it would be a kind of very good framework to regulate them.
All right. Thank you. I'll have Ibrahim answer and then Dr.
Yeah, on this, I think it's a multi-stakeholder thing, whereby not just only the government, but as well as all the organizations and every player involved, but mostly like the organizations building the AI systems, as well as the government. Because if you look at it in this way, in the pharmaceutical industry, where they manufacture drugs that people take, before a drug goes into production, it goes through a very lengthy process. They start by doing research, coming up with drug candidates, then the AI. I think something like this is also what we need, whereby there is a very good collaboration between the regulatory body from the government and the industry players building the system. So they build the system and they ensure that in-house they have a team dedicated to ensuring that what their machine learning developers or researchers are coming up with is responsible, is fair, is transparent, is unbiased, and the rest. And they go through this process to evaluate these models and ensure that they are actually fair. And in some cases also puts
the public and private sector. I do think there's some really good examples of this. So most of my work is on sort of AI machine learning for humanitarian aid programs. And there's a number of really good examples in that area of government collaboration with the private sector. Just to give one example I'm aware of, Google has recently put together like a flood forecasting model that takes into account a whole bunch of Earth observation, remote sensing, also in situ sensing data, and uses that to predict flooding at the hyperlocal level. And that's now being used in at least a few countries, I know in Mozambique and also in Bangladesh, to actually forecast floods and then provide early warnings to people in affected areas right before a flood is about to hit so that they can try to make themselves safe. So I think that's just one example, and there's many other great examples of industry-government collaboration, especially in the humanitarian space. So I do think there's a lot of room for really impactful applications of machine learning that draw on both government and industry expertise, and I'd love to see more of those.
It's amazing to hear the questions. Please prepare them and then we can take them after the last two questions. So this will be for Brehan and Ibrahim. So how can we ensure AI benefits the marginalized communities globally rather than disadvantaging them? I think we have touched on this before, but we can expand a bit more. So what roles should governments and international bodies play to promote the fair access to those marginalized communities that we may not have so little data on?
So, regarding the inclusiveness of marginalized groups, so we have to consider when we are developing and designing our models or our AI systems generally, we have to also consider those marginalized, like their requirements of those marginalized groups. So we are making them inclusiveness here. In addition to this, we can also make our systems like affordable so that they can access it, they can use it. And the governments also can do by providing the infrastructure like electricity, even internet, some devices.
Whenever we are discussing anything about this area, I become very worried. But one thing I can say is that these AI things are not to harm our lives, but rather to facilitate us like to have more productivity on what we do. So, as said, it's going to be harmful to people who don't want to leverage it. So yeah, that's what I might say as a final remark.
Do we have time for one question or two? Okay, one question. Okay, so you can scan this code and you can write your questions there and we can share.
The question is, in terms of, okay, let's say, you talk about data centers and the resources they use as well, because I mentioned that during the session I had. So if you decide that, okay, does the cost of actually having this AI model, having nuclear centers worth the risk? For example, you have creating nuclear centers maybe in Africa, and you know how the maintenance structure is it worth the risk? That's my question.